Hey everyone, welcome into our next live stream here from the Wave Now studio, checking in through our SkyTrack network of cameras. Quiet night, for example, for you folks out in Paris town. Love to see the square. Clear and no trace of much of the snow. There's still a couple mounds we see there, and the temperatures outside, yeah, still pretty chilly at 45. We know it's been a lot worse lately, so thankful for some clear skies and ability for the snow to melt. Appreciate you joining us. I'm Jose Sosaya. Just as an opportunity, as we always do here for Wave News Extra, breakdown of the day's top stories we want to share with you, that our team has been gathering an opportunity over a very busy day to just kind of go over some of these stories. And pairing this, of course, obviously you have the Olympics playing out on our main feed on the TV side of things. And so hopefully that's something you're enjoying as that action plays out that way. But in the meantime, we can go over some of the stories that you might have missed going about your day here in Wave Country. The first is some details in case you had not had a chance to read these yet. But essentially, it was a judge declaring a mistrial. This is the case of a woman who was accused of killing her 10-year-old son. And this was actually what would happen on the second day of testimony that just was starting this week. We were in there, Wave News was, when we got a statement from Commonwealth's attorneys saying that there were still some questions left over about Caitlin Higgins' mental competency. Prosecutors say they're going to ask for a fifth evaluation for her. And if she is found fit, they want to proceed with another trial. But if not, they want to pursue, quote, alternate remedies to ensure that the 10-year-old victim, her son, in this case, gets justice. Kyan Higgins Jr. Police found him dead in the trunk of his mother's car, they say, in April of 21. Prosecutors allege that the mom was high on meth when she taped her boy to a chair, punched and stabbed him. As this evaluation appeal plays out, we'll make sure to keep you all posted on all the different ways you can connect with Wave News. Another update, if you were following this other story, we've learned the names of some officers. This is what happened in a deadly shooting after a traffic stop in Nelson County. Just some more details that we've been able to confirm. This is what happened at the parking lot of the Speedy Mart, if you're familiar with this on Bloomfield Road, for the Nelson County folks tuning in. KSP saying it was an employee from the Nelson County Humane Society who first called 911 to say that Norman Perkins allegedly threatened them with a gun. 80-year-old Perkins drove off toward Bardstown. Officers found his truck again at the Speedy Mart, tried to pull him over. He refused to stop. Actually, no, they found him before that. He eventually pulled into the Speedy Mart gas station where police says, where they argue he pointed a gun at them. And the two deputies involved fired and killed Perkins. We want to show you some pictures that were disclosed as this information that was divulged. The officers involved are Sergeant Lee Keith, Deputy Ryan Downs from NCSO, so the Nelson County Deputies. KSB is still investigating the internal use of deadly force involved in this. Looking now, quick check on the roads. You probably took care of this getting home or just done with the errands for the day you had to do. But we know that starting tonight, there's a need to just be a little extra careful for some pothole patching on I-64. Crews, KYTC, letting us know this was happening east and west from downtown Louisville to the Jefferson-Shelby County line. The work starting at 11:30 tonight, so there's still some time. They're just going to wait until the very deep, late hours. And these crews are going to work from 11:30 through 5 a.m. on Friday. You may be caught in some short lane closures still moving through as they make some repairs. Now, we bring up potholes to let you know that since January of 25, and that is our metric for the data we've been able to confirm with Louisville Metro Department of Transportation, they say they filled more than 2,500 potholes actually just since this January. So I'm narrowing my windows down as I'm checking on the data we've got. So just since January, 2,500. And now, again, the timing of the snow and the ice melting, the pace of that work is now ramping up because it's uncovering all the new damage that might not have been seen before. So here with the update is Wave News' reporter, Fernando Garcia-Francescini, detailing the work that's going on to fix roads and the information about how if you come across a pothole as you're moving around town, that you can do something to act about it.
I know we are all happy that we finally get to see the roads cleared of all of that snow and ice from the winter storm, but unfortunately, with that comes the potholes, and Metro crews are working around the clock to fill those craters and make roads as safe as possible.
I mean, any place there are roads, there's going to be potholes.
From Germantown to the Highlands, they seem to be everywhere. We found potholes in industrial, residential, and recreational areas. The Louisville Metro Department of Transportation tells us they filled more than 2,500 potholes since January. That number will only continue to go up.
It's just sort of part of getting 10 inches of snow and 2 weeks of sub-freezing temperature, which makes you want to move to Miami and stuff.
Scott Endres has seen so many potholes, he says he's developed a strategy to avoid driving over them.
I try to look ahead, try to anticipate what's going to be there, so I'm not throwing my wife out of the car as we're trying to get around them.
Metro leaders say crews are out every day making repairs, and there's also people working overnight in some of the known trouble spots. The city is asking for your help too. They say reporting any potholes you see helps them know what needs attention. Scott says he's been surprised with the Metro's quick work on the streets and hopes people sending their reports will only speed things up even more.
I've been fairly happy that I know that they are out trying to fill them up already, because in the past it hasn't necessarily been that way.
You can report potholes by filling an online form. You can report them on social media or by calling Metro 311. You can find the details on how to do that with this story on wave3.com. Fernando Garcia, Francis Sheeny, Wave News.
Our thanks to Fernando for that update. And always a reminder, folks, if you're joining us on the live stream, that's connecting with us through Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X, like Ozzy over here on the comment section. Great to interact and see, perhaps especially with these weather stories, how you all are faring with any cleanup, any damage assessments around the neighborhood streets where you are. Not sure what the temperature is like up in Toronto right now, Ozzy. We can presume it's colder, but sometimes, these systems bring that warm and cool air in different spurts, and that's why we always love to check in with the storm tracking team when they do. You're going to have that short, mid, and long-term outlook a little later tonight as we also kind of wind down the Olympics highlight action for you on the main stream. Real quick now, this last little story before we're going to reset for a quick break is a check-in on the state of the city, and we're just going to play a little bit of Mayor Craig Greenberg's address for that. So we'll begin with this.
We'll keep doing more. We'll keep pushing, innovating, and finding new ways to make our city a more affordable, more enjoyable place to live. But we also know that progress only lasts when people feel safe.
Perhaps a quote taken from what our reporting team was at to document for the state of the city is, quote, results for every neighborhood. And that seems to be the key phrase, laying out the city's ongoing projects, progress to keep safety. That was the top priority. In it, the mayor, Craig Greenberg, declared, quote, the state of the city is strong and getting stronger. But that is starting with, again, safety, as he listed, being the top of the priority list. Greenberg noted a significant drop in violent crime in his speech. Particular highlight, he said, on the work done through the public safety plan that was rolled out last year. In Greenberg's words, saying that since Safe Louisville was launched, a 40% drop in violent crime, including in homicides, robberies, and carjackings. But another top priority was in making housing more affordable. Greenberg noted the increase of new affordable houses throughout the city. As of now, around 7,000 units of affordable housing has been created during the administration. And then in looking in some stuff toward the future, Greenberg talked about a number of projects. We've reported on a bunch of them. This includes new details about the work to turn the Humana Tower into a hotel to attract this kind of convention demand.
The Humana Tower is going to be transformed into a world-class 1,000-room convention hotel and more. It will bring more people to Louisville every day, create hundreds of local jobs, help us attract more and larger events to the convention center, fairgrounds, and other venues.
Greenberg says once that is complete, the complex would be Louisville's second largest hotel. Construction would begin next year, with the hopes the hotel takes guests by around 2030. Coming up on 8:15, I hope you stay with us as we're going to do a little bit of an Olympics story preview with some Wave country ties. I want to share with you a pretty cool story of a retired luger turned trainer with ties to the Wave sports team. You might figure out who that is as we play that preview for you. In case you were curious about all the ways the different sled sports are actually different, as you might be watching some of that over the course of the next few days. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back with that Beyond the Medals Olympic story preview here on Wave News Extra. Hey there, folks. Welcome into Wave News Extra live here in the Wave Now studio. And in the spirit of Olympic, let's call it competitive, sportsmanship and celebration of the athletes, as you're watching a lot of this high-speed action, picture going 90 miles an hour, beelining down an icy track. All you've got is you and your sled, letting gravity take control as you try to steer with your shoulders and feet. This is what luge athletes have been training for leading up to the 2026 Winter Olympics. And we couldn't pass up asking a former luger, an expert who tried qualifying to compete for the 1988 games in Calgary. He also is someone that we here at Wave News believe inspired a member of our staff to pursue his own professional goals with a sports tinge to it. This is John Baker, and you're going to get to meet him tonight at 11 in our next full special Beyond the Medals. But John first saw elite lugers racing on TV for the 1984 games in Sarajevo. He was inspired to give the sport a try himself. So he tells us because they found out there were fewer doubles teams trying to qualify, he and his partner wanted to get in the best shape of their lives to go to a summer camp in New York with the ultimate goal of being the ones to represent Team USA. John says his Russian trainer's regiment was testing their core, their endurance, their ability to brace for a crash when it happened, not if, but when. And in this part of our long conversation, Baker took the time to help us here and at home note some of the key differences as you're tuning in to watch all the different kinds of events, why there's a difference in the sled sports of luge, skeleton, what was bobsled, but here's John's explanation of it all.
Start with the luge. The luge is a sled that you lay on your back, all right, and you control it with your shoulders and your feet. The bobsled is it's a totally different sled. So the way you start is you hold on to a handle on the sled and you run, and then you jump into it, and then you duck and you steer with these little controllers inside the sled. So it's a self-contained vehicle, basically, for lack of a better word. And then skeleton, you'll notice the skeleton guys, because they always have like a scar on their chin, because they go head first. And so when they get into the G-forces of the curves, their heads kind of on the ice sometimes. So, but all three of the sleds are completely different.
No kidding there. Another key contrast that John was highlighting in this part of our conversation was how some of the vehicles can work on some of the tracks, but another cannot. So he was saying a luge could go down a bobsled track, but the way the luge track is shaped, a bobsled could not do it on that specific surface. Bobsled and the luge just have different steering controls, whether and you're dealing with luge that are singles or doubles. So it is a smaller vehicle. Can't wait to share more of this insight with you guys a little later tonight on Wave News at 11. Not just my next entry in the Beyond the Metal special series, also our original reporting from our Julie Richardson and Meredith Lee and the hard work that they're doing tonight. Hope to join us as we continue to move through these remaining days of the 2026 Milan Cortina Olympics. Coming back to something going on in the Metro story of awful circumstance for the first time actually since two people were shot, and 18-year-old Bryce Gerlach was killed at the Harvest Homecoming of 2024 out in southern Indiana. Wave News was there to listen to people who were involved in what happened. Our Logan Perone has been following this trial from day one, walking through the statements made by someone who admitted to firing his gun that night. And so what we're placing here is some of the central characters. Darius Tuff called to take the stand, but he declined then to testify. Instead, the jury was read a transcript of Tuff's sworn testimony from another co-defendant's case that was Shermichael Smith. So Tuff testified that he drove Smith, both Shermichael and Joshua Smith's car to Harvest that night. The three of them had guns with them. That Tuff, in this case, believed Joshua Smith wanted to rob someone named Adrian Thurman, who did take the stand also for testifying today. Other witnesses have said someone wanted to fight a guy they referred to as Dooman. Tuff claims that was Josh Smith. They're then believed to have walked back to Shermichael Smith's car when he says the people at the top of the steps started shooting. Tuff admitted in the sworn testimony to firing 3 shots before getting in the car. Investigators have previously said his bullets hit 2 people, Michelle Nashi and Brandon Hagan. Tuff also testified Josh Smith fired 3 more shots from the car as they drove away. And then even later, Darius Tuff here quoted as having told Josh Smith, quote, "Be ready for the consequences." There is more testimony expected tomorrow at around 9 a.m. for someone named Nakai Kirksey. And then something interesting that Logan will follow through with as well is there's a confidentiality hearing at 10 in the morning. So from 9 and then looking at 10, the man who was charged as a juvenile, so would have been under 18, but now no longer under 18, but at the age, would take the stand to discuss and see what does happen after that. A lot of moving parts, and Logan will do his work as he also is updating the reporting on wave3.com, so you can follow along there as well. But we'll have it for you in our Friday shows. Now the update of the story that has so many different people's attention out in southern Arizona. Investigators still trying to find 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, but investigators and FBI agents are asking neighbors within a 2-mile radius of her home to help out with the search because this follows the discovery, maybe you've been reading about this as well as home, that there were some black gloves found, and investigators are now doing a DNA test on those to see who they might belong to and if it helps answer those questions to find Nancy Guthrie. NBC's Jennifer Bjorklund shares more on the search for Savannah Guthrie's mom in this matter.
Savannah Guthrie's Instagram post on day 12 of her family's ordeal with the text, "Our lovely mom, we will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope."
This is just a reminder that Nancy Guthrie is not a victim. She's not a news story. She's a mother. She's a grandmother. She's loved by her family, and they are willing to talk to whoever to bring her home safely.
Today, investigators are still searching the foothills near 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie's home, where they told our Tucson affiliate KVOA they found a pair of black gloves yesterday, now being analyzed for DNA. This morning, a tent at the entrance of the home, the same spot where the chilling images of a masked subject of interest appeared in the early morning hours of February 1st. Since those images were released, investigators have received 4,000 calls. The tent was taken down hours later. The FBI had no comment on it. As neighbors come to lay flowers, which they hope will welcome her home soon.
What else can we do right now?
Now, there is something more they can do. Investigators now asking neighbors within a 2-mile radius of Guthrie's home to search their security cameras between January 1st and February 2nd for video of vehicles or anything or anyone that is out of the ordinary.
The idea here is that we want to take all logical investigative steps that point to something that will bear fruit. So if they're expanding, they've got some more information to do that with.
Specific and curious as to what clues they're following on a trail they hope leads to answers. Jennifer Bjorklund, NBC News.
Another quick check of our SkyTrack camera network here, and a view of a quiet downtown skyline there in the background in the distance. Talking about now the temperatures did have been a little lower there to the 43 degrees. And with that, we're going to take another quick break to go over the last round of stories here on the Wave News Extra live stream, as we're going through the breakdown of today's stories, and at the same time coinciding with a lot of Olympic action that you all are watching on the main Wave channel, of course. We'll be right back with much more of today's update here in the Wave Now studio after this. Welcome back into the Wave News Extra live stream, everybody. An update for some bit of news in Frankfurt, at least for progress for a law that ties into the Crystal Rogers murder case. There is a bill being called the Crystal Rogers Act, and it did pass the Kentucky House. It's now moving to the Senate, but this bill specifically would punish anybody who records or shares any grand jury testimony for 10 years. Now, recording a grand jury is already illegal in Kentucky. It's just that the current statute of limitations to pursue charges against someone for doing so is just 1 year. You wouldn't be able to stretch beyond past that date. The sponsors of the bill say this would have allowed them, had the law been in effect years ago, to prosecute Brooks House's family after it was discovered that they were secretly recording testimony in the Rogers matter. Obviously, Houck and co-conspirators Steve and Joseph Lawson all were serving their respective prison sentences after the jury convicted all three of them for their respective criminal counts in this regard. In the world of social media, there's talk of a landmark trial, and as a response, Instagram's CEO is denying that social media can become an addiction to young users. The head of IG, Adam Mosseri, made these remarks in testimony in a courtroom in Los Angeles. He was asked whether Instagram hooks young users Messeri said that he does not think users can be, quote, clinically addicted to the app, though he acknowledged that, quote, problematic use was possible. The trial, what spurred this is a now 20-year-old woman filing a lawsuit against YouTube and Instagram's parent company Meta. She is arguing the companies deliberately developed addictive features to get younger users hooked and that her own mental health has been harmed as a result. Meta attorney argued the woman's mental health challenges were because of her difficult childhood. The lawsuit in this regard is actually the first of more than 1,500 similar cases that are going to trial. In the wake of learning and hearing of the passing of TV and movie actor James Van Der Beek dying at the age of 48, it was a years-long battle with colon cancer. And again, the context of what is going on, U of L Health, so here at our local level across Wave Country, they want to urge people to remember and understand how important screenings for this can be. Starting this year, Kentucky's law actually changed to adjust age recommendations for some patients. It allows more people to get colorectal cancer screenings sooner in the hopes that that would catch something that would in turn save somebody's life. Now, people who, for example, have a close relative who was previously diagnosed with colorectal cancer, they would be considered high risk regardless of their relative's age when they were diagnosed. It's just that association of being a relative. And even patients would qualify to be screened at 40 instead of 45.
About 30 to 40% of colon cancers are due to what we say modifiable risk factors, so things that you and I can change. Obesity, physical activity, smoking, alcohol, and eating a lot of red meat. Those are kind of the 5 definite things that really can put you at risk for colon cancer and actually account for more causes of colon cancer than genetics.
That was Dr. Sandy Kavaloukas. She's an oncologist at U of L Health. See if I can set up the video there regarding the story to keep that going. But Dr. Kavaloukas points to, the data that says colon cancer for the U.S. is the leading cause of cancer deaths among men under the age of 45. So stressing, emphasizing just how critical screening at the right time could be to intervene and get the care that you need before it gets to the worst possible outcome and conclusion there. We're going to wrap things up a little early tonight, folks, letting you know, as we did yesterday, we are counting down the days. You Kentucky Derby fans are probably doing the same, less than 2 months away from the start of the festival season. And for collectors out there who always love to look forward to open their bag and get their first Pegasus pins, well, those are now on the market, available to find. Right now, you can get these at Evan Williams in downtown Louisville, part of a 10-year partnership with KDF for fans who want to buy the 2026 versions of the pin. Those will come with a special edition bottle of bourbon to commemorate the festival. And with the first set, it's another sign that, yes, the new Derby season is right around the corner.
So this is our 53rd year doing the Pegasus pin and has become such an icon of fun and spring in this community. And we love just announcing early, like here at Evan Williams, that the pin is on sale and everybody should get them because the festival is right around the corner.
The big date to remember will be March 1st. That's when Pegasus pins will be sold at dozens of retail stores around the area. And the reminder are more than a collectible. They help get holders, wearers, into several Derby Festival events, and that does also include the Chow Wagon. You can rest assured when the time comes, this will be your best tool to follow all of that action. But in the meantime, as we're still in winter and trying to deal with the cold, whatever the storm tracking team is updating is here as an excellent source. You can find all of that on the homepage of wave3.com. They're constantly updating it. So is the digital team with breaking news, headlines, investigative reports, stories, everything that matters to you and, has those ripple effects and touch points here across Wave Country. This is your best tool to do that, wave3.com. And also make sure to download all the different ways, if you haven't done already, that you're connecting with us here at Wave News. That is, the Wave Now app, which you're watching us at home right now, on live stream as well, on social media, and the free apps you can download are Wave News and the Wave Weather app. All right. Hope to see you all at around 11 o'clock. As I keep saying, go ahead and enjoy all of the excitement, Olympic, patriotic fun out there, seeing Team USA go toe-to-toe with the best of the best around the world. Should be fun and exciting. We will see you at Wave News at 11 for a breakdown with the storm tracking team and more original reporting. I'm Jose Sosaya here in the Wave Now studio. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Until then, take care.